viewers, welcome to CEC lectures. Myself Dr. Preeti Jagmani. I am from Department of Computer Science, Aryabhatta College, University of Delhi. So in this series of our introduction to programming in C++, today's topic is passing and returning objects. So as the name of the topic suggests, passing and returning objects. So passing and returning to whom? So if I can say there are some normal variables and those variables are required to be passed and to be returned from, to be passed to and to be returned from, the first idea which generates into the mind of a listener is passing to and returning from, obviously from a function, passing to a function and returning from a function. So here what we are going to do in this lecture is, instead of passing and returning the normal variables, we are going to pass and return the objects of the class, and we will take it in the series one by one. Earlier we initially we take passing the objects and then we will see returning the objects and how it happens, what all is there, if we talk about passing objects to the function. So that means one agenda for today is very clear, that we are going to pass objects to the functions as parameters. Now initially, if you can recall, in the initial lectures when we have not gone into the details of object oriented programming, we have seen the ways of passing the parameters to functions, and those two very common ways were call by value and call by reference. Now see what is which kind of mechanism is applicable when I am talking about objects. So here the objects may be passed to a function similarly as we are passing any other type of the variable. Now the next question which comes into mind is whether it will be taken as call by value or whether it will be taken as call by reference. So the objects answer to this question is, objects are passed to the function through the use of standard call by value mechanism. So we can use other methods also, but objects are generally passed to the functions as parameters by using call by value mechanism. But passing of objects, whenever I am saying call by value, sometimes it comes into the thought process that call by value is, I can say typically more, kind of simpler way as compared to call by reference, because call by reference includes pointers and references, and sometimes naive users get confused. But here, even if I am talking about a call by value mechanism, the passing of objects, yes, it is straightforward, but even then this, within this call by value mechanism, there are some kind of, we can say, unexpected outputs or unexpected events or unexpected executions which occur, and that is basically relevant to constructors and destructors. So basically idea here is, whenever I am passing the objects within the constructors or something of that sort, then that passing of objects seems straightforward, but it is going to invite some unexpected events. Now what all are those and how it is going to take place? Let's see. So whenever I am passing an object to a function, what do I need to do? So I have taken one my class, and within the public section I have declared one constructor of the class my class, and within that constructor an integer named as n is being passed. Now there is a destructor also, which is simply a destructor of my class and declared with the help of tilde symbol preceded in the declaration of the function. Then we have set I, which is a standard function, taking the value of n, setting it to I, then another one which is get I, and it is returning I, and the prototype is same as integer get underscore I, and it is going to return I. Now, within continuing with this program, let me kind of revise this structure. So, we have one class, my class, in which there is a private member I, another public members in which there are two functions, get, set and get, those standard classical functions I can say, one constructor and one destructor. So, now we have not defined in this definition, if you can see, set I is being defined, the whole definition is being given, get I, the whole definition is being given, but we have not defined the constructor and destructor both. So, now in order to define or in order to provide the definition of constructor and destructor, let us see how it is going to be done. So, my class scope resolution operator, my class integer n, this first line indicates that my class here is an constructor of the class my class, obviously a parameterized constructor in which one integer is being supplied and that integer value is being assigned to the private variable I, and there is a kind of message we can say constructing I. Similarly, the destructor. So, destructor here is, as I have told you, my class scope resolution operator tile my class, that means this indicate that that's a destructor. Then it is displaying C out destroying and the value of I which it is destroying. Now, the remarkable thing which is worth noticeable or which we should notice here is one function which is named as f. It is a void function, but within that the parameter is not any normal variable or a simple variable. The parameter here is the is OB, and that OB is nothing but the object of the class my class. So, that means void f my class OB. Now, this can be very well and easily compared with whenever I am having void f integer I. So, that means a variable I of type integer is being passed to the function f. Similarly, here a variable OB of the class my class is being passed here into the function f, but till this point we have not defined any we can say structure or any definition we have not given for this function f. Now, let us see how that definition goes into. Now, within the main function, if you can see, there is one declaration of an object which is O with 1 as the parameter. That means here is the call to the parameterized constructor of class my class, and 1 is being passed to the value of I can say n, and that value of n is passed to I, where I is the private member of the class my class. Now, there is a call to that function f, and within that function f, that object O which is just created on the line above is being passed, and then there is a C out to make some distinctions, or there is a print statement to make some distinction that this is I in main, then O dot get I is being called, and then there is a return 0. So, basically a 4 statement main function. First is my class O1, that means creation of one object of my class. Then we have passing of that particular object into the function which is going to allow this. then there is a print statement that this is in the main. This print statement is going to help us in tracing the which particular object or which particular constructor we are referring to, and then O dot get I. So, basically again a 4 liner main function. Now, coming to the definition of the function f, in which the object of the class my class has been assigned as parameter. So, within that f, what is happening? There is a set I2 and this is local I will be printed, and then the value from get I will be printed here. So, basically if I can say what is happening here in main. So, first of all, main is witnessing one, I can say, declaration of the object of my class by using the parameterized constructor, and within that parameter 1 is being as the value of that parameter 1 is being passed. Then this object which is already created is being passed to the function f, and within that function f, what is happening? Within that function f, set I2 is being called. On the next line, get I2 is being called with this function OB, and then it is going to print this I is in main and O dot get I. Now, please try to figure out that what could be the possible outcome or possible expected output of this particular program. So, I can say the output will be constructing 1, then this is local I, which is a call from within the function 2, then destroying that 2, then this is in main 1, and then destroying 1. So, if you can see, there are 2 calls to the destructor, which is resulting in the printing of destroying 2 and destroying 1, while there is a 1 call to the constructor which is resulting in the output shown as constructing 1. So, now it is very obvious to pose a question that what is the why 1 call to the constructor and 2 calls to the destructors. Okay. So, is it fine? So, now till this point we have seen that we have called constructor once, and as we have called constructor only once, there should be destructor called only once when that particular object is being destroyed, but this is not happening here. What is happening is 1 call to the constructor while 2 calls to the destructor. Now, what is the what causes this? Now, let us try to understand. So, that means even if we have called constructor once, there are, we can say, there will be 2 objects which are constructed and then 2 objects are being destroyed. So, now the question comes up, from where this second object comes up. So, what is happening? See, please try and understand. When an object is passed to a function, a copy of that object is made. So, one call was explicitly to make that object OB, and the second call took place automatically when the object is passed to that function. A copy of that object is made and this copy becomes the parameter in the function. And please recall that we have already declared that this mechanism is going to take place as a call by value mechanism. Now, please recall what happens in a call by value mechanism. In a call by value mechanism, there is a different copy of the parameter and that copy is actually being passed to the function, not the original one. So, similar, if you can align the concepts well, it is very easy to understand that when an object is passed to a function, a copy of that object is made. So, that means there is an existence of the new object. So, one call to the constructor is being has taken place when you have called the you have declared that object using the parameterized constructor. That is very obvious. And the second kind of, I can say, second object is being made, or copy of that object is being made when that object is passed to the function. So, now here if you can see in the main function, there are two lines. One is my class O1, that means one object O is being created. Now, when this object O is being passed to the function f, a copy of this object O is also created. So, now the original O and the O in the copy, there are two objects. So, that is why despite of having only one call to the constructor, there are two calls of the destructor, which is very evident from our output. That means constructing 1, then if you can see destroying 2 and destroying 1. So, that object with that extra object is created whenever we are trying to pass that object inside the object as parameter into the function. That is the reason, we can say. And when the function terminates, the copy of the argument is destroyed. So, basically what I have told you is, copy of an argument is made during a function call and the normal constructor is not called. Now, if there would have been a normal constructor, then there would have been another call saying constructing this and that. That means the normal call to the constructor or the call to the normal constructor is not happening. Instead, the copy of the object is being created by some other mechanism. Now, what is that other mechanism? That other mechanism is nothing but a copy constructor. So, here a copy constructor is going to define a copy of defines how a copy of object is being made, and as the default copy constructor creates the copy of the object, that means a normal constructor, when used to initialize some aspect of an object, it must not be called to make a copy of an already existing object. So, a copy of an already existing object is made using the copy constructor. So, the bottom line here is in order to make a copy of an already existing object, the mechanism called copy constructor is used. Normal constructor is not used because it will enter the contents of the object. So, now if you can see in detail that there will also be there are two calls to the constructor also. One is the normal constructor which you have defined and you have passed 1 as the parameter, that is one call. Another call for copying the object, because we are talking about call by value mechanism, that means that is sure that one copy of object is being created, and in order to create that copy, the mechanism called copy constructor is being used. So, one constructor normal call, another constructor call as copy constructor. So, basically there are internally, if you can see implicitly, there are two constructor calls, and so there are two destructor calls as well. But one call among the constructor call is not the normal call, that is why it is not displaying, it is not printing anything, it is just not giving you any output. But yes, because of that call to the copy constructor, the copy of the object is being created, and this is done whenever an object is being passed to a function as a parameter and a call by value mechanism take place. So, I am sure that now you have got the concept that why there was only one statement saying constructing and there are two statements saying destructing. So, that means one statement of constructing is not there because the mechanism is different, but there are essentially two constructor calls and so two destructor calls as well. So, why the copy constructor is being used is, while passing an object to a function, the idea is to use the current state of the objects, not its initial state. So, your compiler is, I can say, wise enough to use the call to the copy constructor, not the call to the normal constructor. But when the function terminates, the copy of the object used as an argument is destroyed, destructor is called, and this is a very natural phenomena because the object has ultimately gone out of the scope. So, that is why the program has two calls to the destructor and one call to the constructor, another one is not displayed. So, now this was about passing the objects to the functions. So, as we pass objects to the functions, similarly we can get the objects as return, and the idea is very simple, that the function may return an object to the caller. That's what your returning objects is. So, in order to return an object, we are going to take the same definition of the class my class, in which one public member one private integer member and two public member functions set I and get I, and there is a function which is f, and that function is returning object of type my class. So, please recall, whenever this function is returning any normal value, let us say integer. So, what do we write? We write int f and then the parenthesis. So, similarly here the object is of type of the class and class is my class. So, instead of integer we are going to write my class. So, that means this function f, which is written on the, which is declared on the last line of the of this screen, is going to return an object of type my class. Now, let us see the upcoming functionality. Now, within the main function we have declared one object O of this my class, and whatever value is being returned from the function f is going to be assigned inside O. So, essentially I can say f is going to return an object, and that object or that value will be assigned to O. So, here you can very well relate it to the simple variables. For example, I say integer x and x equals to f, call to the f. So, basically that means here f is returning a variable x, and similarly here the f is returning a variable which is not a normal variable but a variable of a class. And what actually variable of a class is? A variable of a class is nothing but the object, and with that object, in order to make sure that what that object is containing, we have printed the value of get I through that particular object. Now, within this my class whatever I am going to do, this my class f is saying one variable constructor f. So within this, not only within the my class, but inside the definition of the function. So the function name is f, the return type is my class. Within this my class, there is a local variable, local object x. Using that x, we have called set I. That means the value of I has been set as 1, and that particular whole object x is being returned. So within this main function, O is holding the value of x after the function call, and whenever I am saying O dot get I, that means it's going to take place with the values of x. So x is having the value of I as 1, so O is having the same thing. And whenever we are talking about O dot get I, the output of O dot get I function, so the output of O dot get I function will be nothing but 1. So here, if you can see in this program, there is a class and there is an, I can say, prototype, which is a declaration in the sense of the function f, and that function f is special because it is returning some object. Now within that particular definition of the function, we have taken one local variable of the one local object x, and that x has been returned. That x within the definition of main will go to O, and that O, with O dot get I, we have printed that, and this is going to give us the output 1. So in this lecture, we have covered two things. One is passing the objects as parameter, another one is returning the objects as parameters, and hoping that you have got through these two topics very clearly. Hope you have enjoyed the lecture. Thank you.